Hello, welcome back to RetroBreak and welcome to yet another Retro Games Pickups episode. I've got so much really interesting stuff to show you guys in this episode, but first I want to show you something even more exciting than all the amazing games that I've got laid out in front of me here, and that is my brand new intro, so have a look at this. So there we go, isn't that just absolutely amazing? I commissioned a guy to do the music for me and my girlfriend did the animation and I think it came out absolutely fantastic. I am really happy with it. So the first game I'm going to show in this episode is actually a game that I don't even own yet. I did get a download code, but most importantly of all, and I did already have this game ordered and I'm getting the physical version soon, the people that are doing the physical release were very kind and actually sent me some promotional materials for the game. The game itself is called Crosscode and it is a fantastic action RPG slash adventure game, kind of like an MMO but a single player game. It's really cool so far. I've played it for a few hours on the PlayStation, but I decided not to keep playing it on the PlayStation because I do actually have the Switch version pre-ordered, which should be coming out at some point next month I think. But yeah, they sent me these really cool little things here. So there's a standee for the game, which looks amazing. There's also this plushie for the main character, and she can actually sit down because you can see her feet are like angled forward, which is really cool. So I've actually got her sat on the shelf over there. I just love that, that's amazing. And as well as that, it also came with these like plastic coasters or little poster things that you can put up. So there's one there with the title of the game. There's another one here overlooking this cliff. There's one next to a giant tree. And there's one in a dungeon sort of setting as well, so they were really cool. And there's also some fridge magnets as well, which I've got up on the fridge in the other room, so I'm really looking forward to the game. I've heard great things about it, and I played it for about 3 hours on the PS4, so I did get a little bit of footage, which you'll be seeing now, and I think from what I've played so far, the game is fantastic, and I will probably do a full video about the game in the future once I get it on the Switch. I decided not to play it now because I don't want to get really far into the PS4 and then start it again, so thank you so much to NES Games and Strictly Limited for sending these things over, really appreciate it. So the next game here, and you might have seen my review of this one already, this is Quest Arrest for the Game Boy, made by my friend John Rue. I did a review of this a few weeks ago. If you want to go and check it out, I'll put it on the little eye that will pop up over there, or maybe over there. I don't really know which side it comes up, but either way, after you've finished watching this, definitely go and watch it. I'll put a link in the description as well. And on the topic of Game Boy homebrew games, either coming up next week, or it might have already been up by the time you watch this, I'm going to be talking to my friend Kwang from Asobi Tech about his new Jetpack DX game. And the pre-orders are actually available now. I'll put a link to his website in the description if you want to go and get your own copy. And if the interview is up at this point, I'll put a link to that as well. But if not, look forward to that in the near future. I'm really looking forward to that, and he's just gone full-time indie, so guys, go and show him all the support you can. Now, next up, we're going really retro. Some NES games. I got these from Cex the other day, or Cex. I know some people always complain about my pronunciation. So 3 absolute classic games, and I don't know why I didn't already have these. They are Russian Attack, of course, a classic by Konami. Yep, Konami, I just had to check to make sure. Dr. Mario, that game needs no introduction whatsoever. Absolutely fantastic puzzle game by Nintendo. Rivals Tetris in my opinion. And the last game here, another classic. Not one of my favourite games, but it's definitely an interesting game to play from back in the day that I know was really popular back then, and that is Paperboy. So really happy to get all these 3. And they were actually really cheap as well. Cex seems to be doing really well for NES and SNES games these days, so really happy to get these 3. Now, some interesting games here. These ones I actually got quite a while ago, but I've never actually talked about them on the channel yet. Well, I did briefly mention them, I think, in my Trackmania episode, but I haven't given them the attention they deserve. They are Race Driver Create and Race for the DS and Hot Wheels Track Attack. Both of these made by Firebrand, the same company that made the DS and the Wii Trackmania games. So I was really interested to get these and see how they play compared to the Trackmania games. And they're actually kind of similar and kind of different as well. The track editor for both of these games is a lot simpler than what you'll get in Trackmania, but the actual gameplay actually runs on the same engine, and that's very similar. So it's really interesting to see where they went from these into the Trackmania games. I think these both came out before them, so really interesting to get these 2, and I did enjoy playing them. Now, another game from my friend Quang, he actually programmed this way back in the day. This is Lego Stunt Rally. Kind of an interesting game, unfortunately. It doesn't control as well as I hoped. It's more like a Scalextric style game where you just hold the accelerator and go around the track. The most interesting thing about this though, of course, with it being a Lego game, is the creation elements of it. So it does have a really full-featured track editor, but unfortunately you still have to adhere to the awkward controls. But I actually picked this up after I watched Quang do a live stream, and he actually got up one of his old versions of the game and went through all his code and stuff, which I thought was absolutely fantastic and fascinating. So I was really keen to actually get my own copy of this game as well. So not the best game ever, but it was interesting, and it has a bit of meaning behind it as well because I know the developer. And talking about Quang, wow, he should have sponsored this episode. I'm talking about all the time in this one. This is ATV Racer, and I did mention this a few weeks ago in my Vintage Gamer Pickups episode, so go back and watch that one if you want to see everything else that I picked up there. But I'm bringing this one up because I've been trying to get... There's another one. There's another one. So these are actually Daytel unofficial third-party Game Boy games that were given away in one of my favourite magazines called Action GBX back in the day. And those three I actually already had, but I didn't already have this one. This is a double pack of Fall Time and Hang Time. So let's get the cart out here and I can show you guys what came inside. And you can tell just how fake these are because the whole thing is just like one big cardboard like line. And inside we have a so-called instruction manual, which is literally just a piece of printed paper. And on the back it's got controls for both the games, and on the front it's got like a cutout, and they didn't even bother folding it. I suppose it's supposed to be folded over like that, but yeah, that's all. And you can see there it's from Rocket Games, and they were published by Daytel for the Game Boy in 2000 and 2001, so near the end of the Game Boy Color's life. And there's the cartridge just put into this little piece of folded out cardboard there. So I haven't actually given this game a go yet, so I'll give it a go in a minute and let you guys know what I think of it. But yeah, really interesting to get that. And I've only got one left to get, and that one is called Painter. So if anyone watching this video has a copy of Painter for the Game Boy out there that you want to sell, please get in touch. I would love to get it because I'm planning to do a video about all of these Daytel Action GBX fake little games here. They are really interesting, and I presume they were just games that didn't get publishers because some of them are actually pretty good, and they came out at the end of the Game Boy Color's life. So there's a few more Game Boy games to cover that I haven't covered already. I don't even remember where I got this one from. This is a random boxing game for my collection, Muhammad Ali Heavyweight Boxing, so nothing too exciting there, just another UKV game, and I've almost got a full set now. I'm on about 200, and I think it was about 230. I think, I'll double check that. I've actually got a list of all of them, and I'll put it over there, and I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to go and see all of the games for the UK Game Boy. And there's two GBA games here that I was quite interested to find. First up is Micro Machines. I'm a huge fan of Micro Machines by Codemasters, of course. I was a big fan of it back in the NES and SNES Mega Drive kind of days. Really great game, so I was very interested to see how the Game Boy Advance one stacks up to those. Unfortunately, it's nowhere near as good as the SNES games that came before it, but it's still interesting to play, even if it is a little bit basic. And the next game here, this one's a lot more interesting. This is actually one of the most expensive Game Boy Advance games that are actually out there on the market today. I didn't get it in a box, but I was wondering, why is it so expensive? Is it a good game? Or is it just because it's a Sega game and they're getting harder to find? It is Sega Rally Championship for the Game Boy Advance. And playing it now, I can see why people want this game, because it does take full advantage of the Game Boy Advance. It's a fully 3D game, which you really don't see a lot of. And although the pixels are really stretched, the voxels are really stretched, it does play really smoothly. It's got a full 60 frames per second, and it plays really well. And playing it on the Game Boy Micro is probably the best way to play it because they're not really stretched pixels, but definitely an interesting game, and maybe I'll try and get the box and manual at some point. Now, this next thing here is really interesting, and I'm going to save this for a future video, but I just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek. This is a PDA from 1997, and the reason I got this, not because I'm going to start collecting 90s PDAs or anything, but it is an official Tetris game, believe it or not. So the game of Tetris, if I turn it on and press menu, and go over to that one. Enter. So, as you might be able to see now, it is an official Tetris game, which is really, really interesting. So, it won't let me turn it off now. Be quiet. So yeah, it is an official Tetris game. As you can see, it's got the official Tetris logo there, but I'm saving this for a future video because I think it's worth talking about on its own. And on the topic of Tetris games, I've been going a little bit Tetris crazy recently. There's another four Tetris games that I picked up recently. So there is Super Tetris 2 plus Bomb Bliss, which is honestly one of my favourite versions of Tetris ever, although I've never actually owned it officially, so I'm really happy to get the Super Famicom version here, and the Famicom version to go along with it. And I love the box for the Famicom one, I think it looks really nice next to these two. And there is a third version, which is this, but with a black box, and that has a few extra levels and stuff, so I'm looking to track down a copy of that. But yeah, I'm really happy to have both of these. There is something weird about these games though, and that is the fact that although this is called Tetris 2, it's not the same as the Tetris 2 that we got in the UK and America. The Tetris 2 that we got in the UK and America is actually called Tetris Flash, which is a game that I don't have yet. I have it loose, but I want to get it in the box, and that also came out on the SNES and the Famicom as well, so I'm looking to get that one. And I want to do a really big video about Tetris in the future. And along with those games, I also got Tetris here for the BBC Acorn Electron, which I do have over there, but I seem to have lost some of the wires, so I can't actually play it yet, but I will maybe emulate it and show you guys what it's like, but there it is. And if you want more Tetris goodness from me at the minute, I'm doing something called Retro Collective Europe's Collectember, so through every day in September I'm uploading a picture of a different Tetris game, so that's one of the reasons why I got these. And even more Tetris goodness, this is really interesting. This is a little flip up early 2000s LCD Tetris game. There's no batteries in there. I'm going to save this one for a separate video as well, but it is one that I picked up recently. Now these two games, I couldn't pass up on these when I saw these in CEX. Way back in the day, back in the early 2000s when I was at school, I fell in love with a game called Line Rider on a website called Shockwave, I think it was back then, and you could play Flash games on it or Shockwave games, and one of the games that I really loved was Line Rider, so to get it on the Wii and the DS, that is really exciting. These are actually official sequels, so not only do they have the original Line Rider game, they also have levels to complete and challenges and stuff, which is really interesting. So I'm planning to do a video about the Line Rider series. I know there's only 3 games, but there's a lot more that I could go into with these. So I was really happy to find these two, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving them a go. So I'm not sure if I've actually shown this off yet. I did my Trackmania video like I mentioned, but someone on Reddit was really kind and actually sent me their physical version of Trackmania Nations, because I said in that video that I couldn't find it anywhere. So huge thanks to them. I'm really happy to finally have an official copy of Trackmania Nations. The game was free, so that's why I think the physical version is really hard to find, because a lot of people just downloaded it at the time, but I'm really, really happy to have this now. 2 more games from CEX. These are 2 GameCube games that I picked up very recently. I haven't had a chance to play them yet. They are Reckless, the Yakuza Missions, and Smuggler's Run Warzone. I remember reading about both of these back in the day in Nintendo magazines, and it's kind of interesting that Nintendo even got these games, considering they're both 15, or one's 11 and one's 15, so not exactly the kind of games that you'd expect from Nintendo, but there you go. Now this next thing is kind of odd. I haven't even opened it up, so I'm going to open it up on camera right now and show you guys. This is the Data East Classic Collection, and I have Steve from Game Telford to thank for telling me about this when it came up on, I think it was ASOS, the fashion website, so I was really surprised that they were even stocking SNES games at all, and it was actually super cheap. So let's get this opened up, and I'm definitely going to play this one before this video goes live, so enjoy some gameplay of this too. So this is the Data East Collection, published by RetroBit, a brand new SNES compilation consisting of Fighter's History, Fighter's History 2, Side Pocket, Magical Drop, and Magical Drop 2. Out of these games, the only ones that I've actually played are Side Pocket and Magical Drop 2, so I'm really interested to play the rest of them. Let's see what else it comes with, because I know there was a few other bits and pieces in here as well. So there's the cart, a nice black cartridge. We've also got, hey, this is really cool actually, so we've also got a little Data East Classics Collection sticker, so I will stick that on the wall over there in a minute. We've also got an instruction manual, a fold-out instruction manual, so that's pretty cool, with instructions on how to play and control all the different games. Hey, that's really neat as well. So we have a little screenshot sticker of the pool table from Side Pocket, and we've also got 2 pin badges. There's one from Magical Drop, the first one I think, and there's one from Fighter's History, so they're really cool. I'll put them on my rucksack. And here's the game itself. I'll put that down there. So it's a really nice custom cartridge, as you can see, with these little red bits on the side, and a dust protector that says RetroBit on the front. So that's really cool. I'll try it out on my Super NT in a bit to get some gameplay footage for it. Really interested to try this one. I've actually had it sitting on the side for months now, so I'm really glad that I finally got round to having a look at it. It's really cool, really nice collection. And I'll keep an eye out for future releases by them as well. And I'll let you guys know if there's any worth picking up or any that are on sale, so that's really cool. So what else do we have? We've got a few Switch games that I'll cover briefly. Of course, I picked up the Mario All-Stars 3D collection. I've been playing it all weekend and I've actually finished Mario 64 now, and I'm just making a start on Mario Sunshine. I love all 3 of these games, and although I know people were complaining about them being emulation, I really don't mind because it's just really cool to go back and play them all again, especially on something like the Switch. Although I've been playing it entirely on the TV, it is really cool just to be able to pick the Switch up and take it with you and play Mario Sunshine or Galaxy on the go. That's just really, really cool in my books. We've also got, this one was from Limited Run and it finally turned up. I've been waiting ages for this. This is Valhalla, a really, really cool looking cyberpunk visual novel. I've played it for a few hours so far and I've really enjoyed what I've played, and I'm definitely looking to getting stuck into that in the near future. And of course, the wonderful 101, and I hate to admit it, but I haven't even opened it up yet. It's still sealed. I did actually complete the game back in the day on the Wii U, so I basically just picked this up to support the developers and to have it as part of my physical Switch collection. And the PS4 game here, this is Iron Man VR. I've been really enjoying this. I love the controls. I think they absolutely nailed the sense of flight using the Move controllers to play exactly like Iron Man does in the films. It just feels really cool. One thing I don't like about this game so much though is the loading times. I really hope that if this game is backwards compatible on the PS5, that they really reduce the loading times. That is my one main gripe with this game. And I did manage to get myself a PS5 pre-order, so expect some PS5 games on this channel in the future. I know it's mostly a retro channel, but I do also enjoy modern games, and I'm looking to do a bit more modern content in the future as well. Maybe some retro inspired games like indie games or classic game re-releases. So there's a few more games that I've got downloaded that I wanted to mention before I wrap this video up. Hot Shot Racing is a game that I downloaded recently by Sumo Digital. Of course, they're the team responsible for amazing games like Outrun 2 on the PS2 and Xbox back in the day. So there's a really good pedigree behind the game, and I think Hot Shot Racing is absolutely fantastic from what I've played so far. And the other game that I downloaded recently and I just wanted to bring up in this video is Kero Blaster. Of course, by the same guy that made the amazing Cave story back in the day. I've actually finished Kero Blaster now and I'm going through it on hard mode and I absolutely loved it. So if you haven't played that, highly recommend going and giving it a go. So I could talk all day about the games that I've got recently, but I've got to end it there for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, there's loads more coming soon on this channel. I've been brainstorming loads of really exciting videos for you guys, so I hope you all stick around. I'm actually thinking of maybe doing 2 videos a week instead of 1 as well, so we'll see whether that comes true. Don't forget to support me on Patreon if you want to see these videos early, as well as have sneak peek behind the scenes. I'm actually doing a behind the scenes look at every single video going live on this channel going forward, so please support me over there. And of course, please subscribe if you enjoyed the episode. That's it for now. Goodbye.